Hello and welcome to the Poultry Health Research Network here at the University of Guelph. I'm Ryan Snyder, the coordinator, and I'll be your host today. Today you're going to see an interview from one of our graduate students who's working on poultry research right here at the university. Enjoy! Welcome. Today we're sitting here with Erin Ross. Erin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become involved with poultry research here at the university?
So a little bit roundabout. I did my undergrad in health sciences at McMaster University.
Okay.
I originally wanted to go into medicine, like all young health sci's do. And as I progressed through my degree, I sort of realized that medicine was not actually what I really wanted to do. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for a long time, and I just tried to get involved in as many different areas of science as I could. I got involved in research in ecology and environmental physiology, and I was trying everything that I could because I had just been so focused on medicine for my life up until that point. So after I graduated, I still wasn't completely sure what I wanted to do. I worked for a little while and realized that I just needed to find something that I liked and just give it a try and see what happens. So I just did some investigation on the old internet and came across the work that my advisor, Dr. Tina Widowski, is doing in animal biosciences here at Guelph. And I thought that seemed really cool and interesting, and it kind of involved interests that I had not really explored before, as well as my background in health sciences. So seemed like it could be a good fit, and luckily she had a project and was looking for a master's student, so it worked out. And so now here I am at the end of my first year of my master's program, and yeah, it's been really cool so far.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting way of how you kind of found to be here. That's neat.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the work you're doing. What group of birds are you working with?
So for my project, we work with laying hens, specifically the pullets, so the juvenile laying hens. For my project, we're comparing 3 different styles of commercially available rearing aviaries. For me specifically, I'm looking at musculoskeletal characteristics of the birds. So based on the opportunities for exercise and load-bearing activity that they have during very early life, how does that impact the development of the bones and muscles of the birds? And there's a PhD student on this project as well, Anna Wrench. I know she's done a video for you before. Check it out. So she's investigating the cognitive and behavioral aspects.
Okay. And so these are like the same groups of birds under the same...
Yep. We're analyzing the same birds, so we use the same flocks. We have 2 different genetic strains, Lohmann whites and browns, in 3 different styles of rearing aviaries, and then we have a conventional cage control group as well.
Okay. And so how far along are you guys into your study now?
So we've just finished our first replicate. So our first flock has gone through up to 17 weeks of age. We've transferred them to adult housing now. So we are going to be repeating this 4 times. So for the purposes of my project, I'm only including data from the first 2 replicates, but Anna's going to be in it until the end of next year. So.
Okay. And so are you going to carry on your investigation with the layers as they're fully developed, or is it mostly just during the pullet phase?
So the primary focus is during the pullet phase. We're very fortunate that we are able to keep some birds into adulthood, not our entire flock. So we will be conducting some investigations with the adults, but the primary focus is the pullets.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit more about the skeletal measurements or data that you're collecting. How does that work?
So for my project, a lot of my data is coming from dissections. So I'm taking a sample of dissection specimens at 3 key time points during the rearing phase. So from these dissections, I'll be taking quite a bit of information. So muscle weights from the breast, the wing, and the leg, as well as bones. So the keel bone, as well as bones within the wing and the leg. So I'll be taking morphological measurements of these bones, so in terms of the diameter, the length of the bones, as well as breaking strength. And we're very fortunate to be collaborating with a group of bone researchers at McGill University, and they're going to be scanning a sample of our bones through micro-CT, so we'll be able to get some data in terms of the microarchitecture of the bone. So all of this is complemented by functional tests that I'm conducting with the live birds. So it's really interesting to see the the actual characteristics of the bones and muscles themselves, but we're interested to know how does this influence the bird's physical fitness.
Right.
So I'm testing the birds on their ability to climb ramps of different angles.
Okay.
So looking to see how successful are the birds from the different treatment groups in climbing ramps that increase in steepness, as well as what type of locomotion do they use to ascend these ramps, whether they are able to walk or whether they need to use wing-assisted incline running or whether they can fly.
Okay.
And another test that I'm running is a ramp choice test. So basically the bird needs to either get up to a platform or down off of a platform to the ground. And they're given an option with a ramp. So there's the platform with the ramp, and so they can choose whether they're going to fly or whether they're going to walk over to use the ramp.
Okay.
So these functional tests, and finally I'll also be looking at body composition of the pullets using the DEXA machine that is available at the OVC. So looking at what is the total lean content, the mineral content of the carcass, mineral density of the carcass, and fat as well. So getting a full picture of what are the features of the bird.
Yeah. So I imagine you have a lot of video footage to go through to look at all
Yes,
this
I
stuff.
do.
And so are most of the behavioral aspects, such as the ramps, tests, is that video footage of them naturally in their caging environment, or do you remove them and set them in an area and then subject them to the test?
So it is in a separate testing arena.
Okay.
One thought that I did have was to observe their ramp use and other behaviors within the aviaries themselves, and I know that's something that Anna is doing as well, like activity and space use within the actual aviaries. But for my purposes, I'm interested to know about what is the physical ability of the bird, and the different aviaries differ in terms of their structure. That's like the whole treatment. And so the ramps are different lengths and different angles and different setup, and so it's not going to be possible for me to compare directly between the groups within their home environment because their home environments are different.
Right.
So I do have to take the birds out of that home environment and move them to a standardized testing arena, just so that I can actually compare the birds.
And so tell us a little bit about the design of the experiment. So this is happening at our Cal research facility?
Yep, so it's being done at our Cal. So so I've built some ramps, and basically I collect a sample randomly of birds from the home pen.
And how many would be in the home pen?
It depends. It depends on which aviary, just because we've had to standardize for like stocking density and litter area based on code of practice, and the rooms themselves aren't all the same dimensions, and the aviaries are a little bit different in terms of their structure, so it's not exactly the same number per group, but varies from around like 400 per group up to about 700 per group.
Okay, wow.
So I take a sample, relatively a pretty small sample of these birds, and transport them to a different room in the farm where I have the ramps set up, and then they get run through the test, and the test is video recorded. And so just now I'm embarking on my video analysis.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
And so are there any major funders for this project?
Yeah, so this project is funded by Egg Farmers of Canada. It's a very large cluster project. It has our group under Dr. Widowski's supervision, another group actually under Dr. Highlander's supervision at University of Guelph, as well as several other academic institutions within Canada. So it's a pretty large scale project.
Excellent, yeah.
And we're very fortunate to have the funding of Egg Farmers of Canada for this.
Yep, and that's really nice to hear that you've got a lot of collaborations going on within the university and amongst other institutions, like you mentioned McGill University.
Yeah.
So what's been the most exciting part about this project for you?
One thing that's really exciting about this project, and also other projects in poultry science that I've seen, is how directly applicable the findings of our research are in actually agriculture. So our research is addressing a very specific real-world problem that's existing within the industry, and we're conducting research to try to find ways to solve this problem or improve the welfare for the birds that actually exist in real life. So our results will go on to hopefully inform decisions that farmers make and policy decisions. So the direct application of our findings, I think, is really exciting and something that's unique in science.
Yeah. we're glad that you're investigating this stuff. Like you said, it's a major issue for the industry, so glad to know that somebody's working on this stuff. And you said you've only finished your first replicate so far, but do you have any general conclusions that you might want to hint at, or you want to avoid that for now?
Yeah, well, we're just starting with our data analysis now, so we've just finished our data collection for this first replicate, so I can't really say anything about conclusions at this point as data analysis is ongoing.
Right.
Yeah, we are hypothesizing that we will see differences between groups.
Yep.
We are anticipating that the birds with more opportunities for exercise and load-bearing movement during early life will have superior bone and muscle characteristics and will therefore be more physically able to adapt to life in complex adult housing.
Okay.
That's what we hypothesize, but we'll see.
Makes sense, yeah. And so when you are done with all these analyses, do you anticipate to publish or present these at any conferences or journals?
Absolutely, that's something that we hope to do. Don't have any results at this time, so can't really speak to exactly where we might publish or present, but that's certainly a goal to disseminate our information to the appropriate platforms as much as possible.
Okay. And so what's next for you after your program? Are you interested in academics or industry or government?
It's a great question. Don't have an answer for you. I'm not sure. Like I said, for a long time, I had a very specific vision of wanting to go into medicine, and I had done a lot building up to that, thinking that that was what I wanted to do. And then when I didn't want to do that anymore, I was confused about how to move forward. So now I'm trying to move away from that, trying to move away from having like a specific end goal in mind. Because you never know what's going to happen. So I'm just trying to do the best I can with everything that's in front of me right now, and we'll see where it takes me. Yeah,
good outlook. And I know you have some extracurricular activities. Can you tell us a little bit about those in terms of the poultry work that you do?
Yeah, so over the summer, I was very happy and excited to be elected as the Junior Student Director of the Poultry Science Association.
Awesome.
So in this position, I work closely with the Senior Student Director of the Poultry Science Association as well. Specifically, the students, representatives are involved with the hatchery, which is the student division of the Poultry Science Association, but we do sit on the board of directors of the PSA itself.
Okay.
So we take part in the board meetings, and our job is to represent student interests to the board of directors.
Okay.
So we collect feedback from university representatives and regional directors of the PSA and use that to provide feedback and our input during board meetings. And we also organize the PSA Brooder program, which is actually a really cool program that not a lot of people know about, so everyone listen up. It's basically a program where we have a pool of funding and students are able to apply for this funding if they want to put on an event at their school related to poultry research. So it could be bringing in people from industry or promoting poultry research at their school, but all you have to do is go to the Poultry Science Association website and look up the Brooder program, and the application form is there. It's very straightforward to fill out. We just want to know the details of the event that you're wanting to put on, what is your budget, where is the money going to go, and we review those and can provide funding so that you can put on the event.
Very cool.
And it's a great way to promote poultry research and get students more interested in poultry research and poultry industry. So it's really cool.
When I heard that you got the position, I was really excited to hear that somebody from Guelph is going to be representing at the Poultry Science Association. So, like you said, it's going to bring in a little bit more energy and enthusiasm to poultry here on campus. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's been great so far. So I'll be finished. So my term as Junior Student Director goes until next summer, and then starting next summer until the following summer, I'll become the senior.
Wow.
I'll be working with the junior. So it's a 2-year term in total, and it's been a great experience so far.
Yeah, very cool. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the poultry industry or the academic community?
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work. Everything that I've seen so far. Again, I'm coming into like poultry research from a completely different field, so I don't have years of like background and experience in this area, but coming in from a different perspective, it's been great to learn about all the different kinds of research that goes on and to get to meet some of the people who are involved. And it's been a great learning experience for me and great to learn about how diverse this field is as well. So yeah, more power to all the great people involved.
What's amazing about the poultry industry is that there's been so much work done in the past that we can look at literature for a very long time, but there's still so far for us to go, right? There's always improvements to be made in terms of welfare and health. So we're absolutely lucky to be having you help us out with solving some of these issues.
Great.
So this has been another student interview with Erin. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ryan.